Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com, promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. According to an explosive document declassified yesterday, the credible foreign sources indicating that the FBI and the Obama administration were playing a role in spreading the Trump-Russia narrative were allegedly tied to George Soros' Open Society Foundation. New information on this developing story out of Washington this week. The 911 call of the only caller to report the Cincinnati mob attack on the two people who were badly beaten was released yesterday. We have new details on this horrible story as well. Also, a Good Samaritan was bashed in the face with a baseball bat as he tried to break up a fight on a Bronx street in New York, leaving him with severe head fractures, according to NYPD officials. And we wonder why people want to get involved or don't want to get involved. Is giving a tip always required? Should you tip even when the service is bad and the food is not what you ordered? I'm on my tipping soapbox today. Get ready. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette joins us to talk about the better than predicted GDP, interest rates, and economic development here in South Carolina.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
So we end the week with a story that we started the week with. You've probably seen the video by now, and I'm not talking about the one with the Daniel High School football players. But this one, too, has gone viral. But in case you haven't, let me just paint the picture for you. A woman, identified only as Holly, was beaten unconscious on the corner of 4th and Elm in Cincinnati when a man was stomped, pummeled, and humiliated as well. And here's the kicker. There were about 100 people around watching it all go down. The ones in the crowd, the mob, the ones who were doing the attacking, were all black. The two victims were white. Only one guy, one dazed, confused man, made a 911 call. That was released yesterday.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
4th and Elm, please.
Okay, can you repeat the address?
4th and Elm.
Okay, and what is your first and last name? And what's a good callback number for you? Can you verify it, please? Tell me exactly what happened.
Huh?
Tell me exactly what happened.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Tell me exactly what happened.
There's so much people acting crazy.
There's what's going on?
A few fights here and there, let's put it this way. Some people just acting crazy. Yeah.
So there's just people fighting outside, is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, they are.
Okay. And this is going on now, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Are you at that location now?
Yes.
Are any weapons involved?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
How many people are involved?
At this point, everybody's spreading out. So I was before, like by 20, 30 people, but everybody's obviously.
But everybody's what?
Everybody's walking away at this point.
So do you...
Now, let's take a moment to really grasp this. A crowd of people watches a woman get knocked out cold, and almost no one even reaches for their phone. This one guy, and you can tell he's confused, probably a little scared, this one person bothers to call in. You've got bystanders recording it, laughing, some even egging it on, and no one calls the cops. I mean, this isn't just a crime. It is a cultural collapse. And God bless this one man, whoever he is, because he had the sense to make the call. I mean, you can hear in the 911 audio, he's shaking, he's confused, and the operator is going through the usual checklist. How many people? Are they still fighting? Are there guns or there weapons? And he's trying to make his best to describe the chaos, saying that some people are leaving, some are still here. I mean, imagine trying to make sense of that when you just witnessed someone getting beaten into the pavement. The call lasts about 3 minutes, and later in the call, when the man says that the crowd is not as large because people are leaving, the operator actually asks, well, do we need to steal someone out? Do you need a response here? There was no sense of urgency. These two people were lying on the ground with horrible injuries. There was no sense of urgency to get someone there to help. Now, I don't know how a dispatcher prioritizes things, but in my mind, shouldn't she have immediately dispatched police to the area as soon as she heard that there was a large mob of people fighting, and then she could have gotten more details from the guy? I don't know. Again, maybe if you're a dispatcher, you can email me, Joey at joeyhudson.com. You can text me. You can call, leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, and kind of straighten me out here. It just seems to me like at one point, I really think she wasn't even going to send someone out to check it out. Now, here's what Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Thigi said this week. She said, that is unacceptable to not call the police. She's right. Now, she also this week blamed it on social media. She literally was chewing people out, blaming people on social media and their reactions for the fight. Yes, social media, they made this become a national story, but social media did not cause that mob to attack these two people. Let's talk about the mayor. Mayor, what's his name? Pureville, I think. Where was he during this? Well, he was sitting on a lakeside porch in Canada, sipping a nice drink, I'm sure, while the streets of his city looked like something out of a war game. He didn't say a word until 36 hours after the video exploded online, and now, he's cutting his vacation short. He's going back home. Well, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate your leadership. And then I couldn't believe this when I saw it. Cincinnati City Councilwoman Victoria Parks posted on Facebook that the victims begged for that beatdown. She says that they're asking for it. I mean, are you out of your mind, lady? Who says that about a woman who was knocked unconscious in broad daylight in an American city? I watched that video. I've watched it multiple times. It is very disturbing to see that guy literally knock that woman out. She falls to the ground, hits her head on the pavement, and she doesn't move. I didn't know if she was alive or not. I'll tell you this. That's the new left-wing doctrine on full display. Victims aren't victims anymore. Criminals aren't criminals. The world is upside down. Look, I'm not here just to throw red meat. I'm here to be honest with you because someone's got to say this. This isn't necessarily about race, although we've seen several incidents recently of blacks attacking whites. But let's leave race out of it. It's not about politics. It's about a complete failure of public decency, of civic duty, of law enforcement, of people caring about one another, whether you know them or not. We're living in a time where people would rather live stream a beating than stop it. They'd rather go viral with a video than do the right thing and call the police. And I can't believe we've talked about this all week, but it's been a major topic. There's been a new disclosure every day. Now we got the FBI and the Department of Justice involved, and that's good. That's a good thing because Cincinnati police arrested 3 people so far. They're being held on serious charges, felony assault, aggravated riot. But let me ask you this. Where are the other 97 or so? Because there were more than 3 people involved. And if you watch the video, you know what I mean. This was a mob beating. This wasn't just a brawl. This wasn't a fight. This was a pack attack, targeting 2 people, stomping them, punching them in the head, leaving them on the sidewalk like trash. And if we don't start treating this like the national crisis that it is, it's going to get worse. They're going to think, well, hey, they did it in Cincinnati. We can do it here. You think Cincinnati's the only city it's happening, though? No. Check out New York, L.A., Chicago, San Francisco. Crime isn't just happening. It's being tolerated. Celebrated by some of these so-called leaders who would rather shame the cops and stop the criminals. And by the way, maybe people are just too scared to get involved under the current circumstances. For example, a Good Samaritan was bashed in the face with a baseball bat when he tried to break up a fight in the Bronx in New York, leaving him with severe head fractures, according to cops. The concerned 31-year-old victim tried to intervene when he spotted two men fighting around 1 a.m. last Friday. The violence quickly turned towards him, and he ended up in the hospital. Maybe, just maybe, that's why people are hesitant to get involved. Joey Hudson here. America is facing a health crisis, and the answer isn't more meds. I lost over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan without Ozempic or any weight loss shots. Don't settle for a lifetime of medication. GLP-1 injections like Ozempic help some people lose weight, but they come with side effects, high cost, and most gain it back when they stop. At PhD Weight Loss, we reveal Big Pharma's big secret. Your body already makes GLP-1, the appetite-fighting hormone. Our program helps your body make it naturally so you'll drop the pounds faster. With the PhD method, no side effects, no long-term risk, no rebound weight gain, just natural, lasting results, all without hunger or cravings. Right now, get a free body scan and personalized metabolic assessment. Discover your body's true potential without a shot. It's free and gives you the keys to your personalized plan. Do like I did and don't trade your health for a quick fix. Call now at 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com. Okay, so I'm going to get on my tipping soapbox today. Bear with me. You've heard me talk about this before. So have you ever had a server who's maybe a little overwhelmed, your food's late, the wrong drink shows up, and you're thinking, do I still tip? Well, welcome to the weird, tangled knot of American tipping culture, where gratitude, obligation, and economic policy, we'll just call it that, all collide in the space between your check, your credit card, and that little line that says tip. Now, here's what happened to me yesterday, and I want your feedback. I want you to tell me what you would have done. After the show yesterday, which I typically do, I went to grab some breakfast. I usually go to my favorite place, which is Select in downtown Greer. I needed to be in another part of town yesterday, so I did not go to Select. Big mistake. And again, let me be clear. This was not Select, okay? Select has great service. They have great food. I always ask for extra crispy hash browns. I can't eat potatoes that are half cooked. So I did this yesterday. The waitress, nice young lady, she brought my order out, put it on the table, and left. I didn't see her again until time for my check. And this restaurant, they do the self-serve coffee. So they leave you a pot of coffee so they don't have to come back. It's less work for them. So I literally didn't see her again. The hash browns were cold on the inside. Not only were they not crispy as I had asked, they weren't even cooked. It was as if the cook was annoyed that I had even asked for crispy hash browns. So he goes, I'll show you. And in defiance, didn't even cook them. So when the waitress showed up with my check, when it was time for money, I explained very nicely that I had not eaten the hash browns. They were still on my plate. And I told her why. She seemed very concerned about it, but she didn't have a solution. I mean, I was thinking, well, maybe she just doesn't charge me for the hash browns. Or maybe, gives me a free coffee in my next visit or something. I don't know. She was very clear that she had put crispy on the order. She wanted me to know that it was not her fault. And that the cook must have been very busy, she said. That he's very busy back there today. So I made a decision, and I typically don't do this. I decided I was not going to leave a tip. And I suggested to her, I said, you might want to talk to the kitchen staff and to the cook and let them know that when you request crispy hash browns, they should make them crispy or whatever the special request is. And I'm sitting there thinking, too, as someone who's worked in the restaurant industry many, many years ago, at my hometown restaurant of Cannon's in Greer, I'm thinking, why would she have ever brought them out? Because at first I thought, well, maybe she forgot and she didn't put it on the order that I wanted them crispy. But she was clear she had put it on the order. So I'm thinking, why would she have even brought those out to my table when she could clearly see that they weren't cooked? I mean, let's be honest about tipping. And I want to get your feedback. Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY. I mean, tipping in the U.S. started as a way for businesses to shift labor costs to the customers, or that at least that's what I think. Employers could pay servers a drastically reduced base wage, sometimes as low as I don't know what it is, like just over $2 or so an hour, and expect you and me, the customer, to make up the difference with our goodwill. That's not just folklore. It's baked into the system. The result? Tips became less about a bonus for excellence and good service and more like a subsidy for wages that employers were allowed to keep low. Fast forward to present day, 2025, and the pressure cooker, pun intended, has gotten even hotter. People are being hit with tipflation. Digital payment screens that shove suggested gratuities at you. Don't you hate those when they turn the screen around and there they start at 20%, 25%? I've seen some even 30 and 35%. And it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong if you don't comply, if you don't choose one of those buttons. And what my real pet peeve is when it's at a store or something where I didn't even get service. I'm just buying a product. And they flip the screen around and there's a place for a tip when all they've done is just check me out. But that pressure of tipping, it's not just perception. Surveys have shown tipping expectations are rising even when service is poor. The majority of Americans admit that they still leave something even if they got bad service or even terrible service because of that pressure. So here's the tension. Culturally, tipping is supposed to reward good service, or at least that's what I thought. When I was a curb hop at Cannon's years ago as a teenager, you know, if I got the order right and I got it out quick, I got a bigger tip. If I was good to the customer, I got a bigger tip. Most industry guidelines still suggest a baseline of a minimum of 18%, 18 to 20% for standard service. I guess more if it's exceptional, maybe a modest cutback for genuinely poor service. I don't know. I typically give 20% period. If it's real good service, I'll do more. But my base is 20%. But we all know that the reality is that people feel guilty about reducing a tip. Now, I had a buddy who had a little card printed up. When he got bad service, it just had a quick little message that, hey, look, I didn't get the service I expected here, so this is why my tip was reduced today, or I didn't give a tip at all, and he leaves it with the check. But we feel guilty about doing that. Even when the waiter forgot the appetizer or ignored your table for 20 minutes, didn't even look at you when you first came in. That guilt is amplified when the payment screen presents you with a preset percentage in bold, flashing letters, which implies that anything less is stingy, cheap, regardless of what your service was. So here's what I'm going to say, and here's what I want your feedback on. And I really do. I want you to let me know, was I wrong yesterday not to leave a tip? Because some can argue, well, it wasn't her fault, it was the cook's. But doesn't she have some responsibility too? When she saw that those hash browns were not even cooked and I had asked for them to be crispy, rather than bringing them out and putting them on my table, didn't she have some responsibility to take those back to the kitchen and say, hey, my order asked for these to be crispy. Well done. Didn't she have some responsibility there? I'd love to get your comments. Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. You can leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. And always use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow. By the way, speaking of good service, you're always going to get service at MyPillow when you go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. And boy, does Michael and Deba have some great offerings for you right now. He has the Classic Collection pillows for wholesale prices, only $19.98 for a standard MyPillow. Haven't seen this in a while. Yeah, you have to use promo code Joey. It gets even better because for a limited time, Lindell's also going to offer his entire Classic Collection at wholesale prices. For example, the queen size pillows are just $24.98. You can upgrade to a king size for only $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Get the body pillows for $39.98 and the multi-use My Pillows for only $12.98 with promo code Joey. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. Use promo code Joey. Place that order today. So back to tipping. In my opinion, tipping should be based on the quality of service. Now, if the server is juggling 5 tables and the kitchen's backed up and they're doing their best to keep you in the loop, cutting them off entirely out of frustration hurts that person that's trying to help. And I get that. And that's what, again, I typically give 20% even in that situation. Give them some grace. And maybe just politely say, hey, I get it. Thanks for keeping us up to date. But, the service hadn't been that great this time. Maybe it'll be better next. But if the service is negligent, if it's rude, if they're just indifferent, if they seem not to even care, that if they don't even ask you what you think, then, yeah, I think you can scale back. And in my case yesterday, maybe that was a little extreme of just not giving a tip at all. But I think it was the right thing. I felt good about it. Now, the waitress, I'm sure, didn't feel good about it. But again, maybe that was a learning exercise. Maybe next time before she takes a plate out that has either the wrong food or incorrectly cooked food or whatever, maybe she'll be a little proactive with the kitchen, with the cook, and say, hey, this isn't right. And here's the larger picture. Customers are tired of feeling like the enforcers of a broken system. Some people are choosing to push back, refusing to tip when the price has already been jacked up, when automatic gratuities mask real cost, and when they feel the system has been abused. I mean, that's a signal not just to servers, but to restaurant owners and policymakers in the restaurant business. If the model of keeping wages low while making customers the safety net is just not working for customers, maybe it's time to rethink. Maybe we need to think about tipping, and maybe we need to think about what we actually pay these servers. And until then, the individual still gets to decide. Tip with intention, not just as something that you feel like you're forced on or you're guilt-ridden. You tip because you're guilty about that screen that's turned around for you. I think the bottom line for you, don't tip out of blind obligation when service isn't good. But don't necessarily punish someone who's really trying in a system that often puts them between a rock and a hard place, if they're trying. Am I all wrong here? Or would you have tipped yesterday anyway? Love to get your feedback. Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Continuing today's show as we wrap up another week. You remember Russiagate, how much we focused. People were obsessed with Russiagate, and it's just interesting what we're learning now. You remember the endless cable news segments, the congressional hearings, the word collusion, Russian collusion. If I heard that again, I was just going to be sick. It was shoved down our throats for 2 years. You remember Adam Schiff saying, I've got evidence, and CNN running with it like it was gospel? You remember when just asking questions about the narrative made you a Putin apologist? You loved Russia? Well, what if I told you that everything we suspected not only was true, but it's worse? A newly declassified appendix from the Durham report released yesterday by Senator Chuck Grassley and FBI Director Kash Patel confirms that, now get this, before the FBI ever opened the Crossfire Hurricane investigation into President Trump, credible foreign intelligence sources warned us that something was coming, that there was already a plan in place to tie Donald Trump to Russia, a plan allegedly originating from actors tied to, get this, George Soros' Open Society Foundations and the Clinton campaign. You can't make this up. You literally couldn't script this for Netflix because they'd say it was too obvious. Now, if you're just joining us and you're thinking, whoa, slow down, I get it, it's a lot. So let's just walk through it. The appendix, part of Durham's long-awaited investigation, reveals that in 2016, the U.S. intel community picked up hacked emails from the Soros-funded Open Society Foundation. In those emails, top Soros officials, one named Leonard Bernardo, allegedly discussed a plan to spread damaging information about Trump and Russia using third-party cyber firms like companies called CrowdStrike and Threat Connect, which just happened to be, guess what, connected to the Clinton campaign. You following? Kind of hard sometimes, but let's focus for a minute. These emails, reportedly from the Soros-connected sources, talk about using the media to demonize Putin and Trump. And here's the kicker. Later, the FBI will put more oil into the fire. They'll fan the flames. Let me say it again. This is a quote. The FBI will put more oil into the fire. Now, that's not speculation. It's not a tweet. It's not a Facebook post or an Instagram post. It's a real document tied to credible foreign intelligence and reviewed by Durham's team. It's now in the hands of Congress right now. And guess what happened just a few days later? July 31st, 2016, to be exact. We were in the heat of the battle going into the fall election. The FBI opens Crossfire Hurricane. Coincidence? You tell me. Folks, what we're looking at here is not just bias. It's not just corruption, although it is. It's a coordinated weaponization of the government. The DOJ, the FBI, the entire intelligence community to tip a presidential election in a direction that they wanted it to go because the Democrats could not stand the idea of Hillary Clinton losing and them giving up the power specifically to Donald Trump. Now, if this is not election interference, I don't know what is. It's an abuse of power, and it makes Watergate look like a parking ticket. And while we're been told for years that questioning the narrative was somehow unpatriotic, that not believing the Steele dossier meant you were a traitor, the real betrayal was happening behind closed doors in D.C., in the deep state, with signatures from Comey, Clapper, Brennan, and let's not forget Hillary Rodham Clinton, whose campaign helped bankroll the entire dossier, which we already knew, using campaign cash funneled through Perkins Coie and Fusion GPS. So let me ask you, how did we get here? How did the FBI, the CIA, the so-called guardians of democracy, fall this far? Kind of makes you nervous. Makes me nervous. Because here's the bottom line. When institutions forget their mission, when they start picking winners and losers in our elections, the republic starts cracking. And if this could happen to Donald Trump, a billionaire with lawyers and media reach, what would they do to us, to you and me? What about the mom at the school board meeting? We know how they're treated. What about the guy who just wants to run his business and live in peace? Somebody gets it in for you, they'll get you. They'll bring you down. What about the whistleblowers who are now terrified to come forward because they know if they cross the deep state, they don't just get fired, they'll destroy them. You get destroyed. You lose your job and will have trouble getting one for the rest of your life. The swamp is deeper than we ever thought. And thanks to this Durham appendix, we're starting to see just how coordinated, just how ugly, and how deliberate this plan was, how planned out it was. Even the appendix quotes former intel officials saying these hacked emails, which Durham's team believe are authentic, should have raised red flags everywhere. But instead of investigating that, the FBI doubled down on Donald Trump because that's what Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden wanted them to do. They ignored their own rules. They relied on Oppo research from a foreign spy. They lied to the FISA court. They spied on American citizens, including Carter Page. And they ran disinformation ops against a sitting president because they weren't going to give up. Meanwhile, the media, as we learned about this week, crickets. CNN is too busy running panels on what Trump tweeted 5 years ago. MSNBC, they're still obsessed with January 6th. But this, the biggest intel scandal since who knows when, barely a whisper so far. Why? Because it exposes them too. It kind of shows you how complicit they were. They carried water for the biggest political scam of our lifetime. We can't let them get by with it. We have to hold their feet to the fire. And I think Chuck Grassley and the Republicans are going to do it this time. We'll see. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. On our guest line today, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. Welcome, and boy, you've had a busy week. I've kind of followed some of your trips this week on Facebook, and do you ever get tired?
Yeah, sometimes I do, but I got to tell you, people keep you energized, right? When people are excited, and I'm out at new businesses opening, and Boeing had their apprenticeship graduation. You feel that energy. It kind of wakes you up. So it's good. The people of South Carolina are positive and happy, and that kind of keeps us positive and happy.
Yeah. Before we go any further, and I should have started with this, I understand there's congratulations in order. Happy anniversary to you and David.
Well, thank you. I think this is the first anniversary we've ever been apart. He had to be in San Diego on business, and I had to be here. So it was a big one. It was 20 years, and so we kind of we're going to celebrate this weekend.
Yeah.
We're going to go out to dinner and stuff this weekend. But thank you so much, and thank everybody for all the kind messages that they put out there on social media for us.
Yeah. This week, we got the news that the second quarter GDP was better than expected at 3%. Talk with us a little, and I know you're a numbers person. Why is that number important to the average person?
Well, because we want to make sure that we're growing, right? We want to make sure that businesses are doing well and job market's growing. And we can thank President Trump, because President Trump and his America First agenda has continued to make everybody prosper. Once again, another great week announcing tariff deals.
Yeah.
We had the EU on Sunday. That was really positive. And then South Korea as yesterday. And I heard a report in my travels yesterday. I was in Colombia yesterday, and heading back home last night, I was hearing that China sent a delegation of 72 people to negotiate.
Wow.
And so I thought that's a pretty serious delegation when you send 72 people. And I think they're going to be outnumbered with the few that the Trump administration will send into that boardroom and negotiate with them. But
yes,
we're in a great place in America, and people should be proud to have a president who's fighting for American business, American workers, and American farmers.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that. We're seeing that in our economy getting better and better. More companies saying, yeah, listen, we're going to have to build these products here on U.S. soil, and that helps South Carolina because we have a very long list of people looking at our state to put roots down.
Yeah. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette is our guest today. It's just kind of interesting to me because when the president first started talking about tariffs, everybody thinking, oh gosh, this is going to kill our economy. This is really bad. Well, now it's almost like countries all around the world are stepping up and volunteering to pay our tariffs because they need our market.
We always for years have had presidents that undersold America, and President Trump never did, and I think that is what we're seeing, and he made it very easy. Everybody says in politics, everybody has a very short attention span. Your audience has not just your audience, but an elected official's audience has a very small attention span, and so President Trump has a great way of getting people's attention very simplistically. Like when he brought out that chart and he listed all those countries and he said, this is what they charge us for our goods and this is what we charge for theirs. Everybody took like a step back and really looked at that because it was so easy to understand. And we knew it wasn't right.
Yep, exactly. All right, the big thing that's been discussed, though, and of course the president posting on True Social, the Fed did not lower interest rates again. Even with the president publicly pressuring him, Jerome Powell, again, kept the rates where they are. Is this political? You think Powell is just openly defying the president, or does he have a legitimate reason for not lowering interest rates?
I look at that, too. And you kind of look at his demeanor when he talks about it. It almost seems like it's like kind of a little bit of a personal edge to it.
Yep.
He's trying to say that if we grow too fast, it's going to be this hyper growth and it's going to be a bad thing. But, I've tried to broadly listen to other economists who say, we can be lowering them a bit. They do not need to stay fixed. And, I think when you listen to these things, we'll go back to tariffs for a second. You were mentioning all the naysayers, right? All the doomsday people. And they were just showing lists and reclips of all these people who said, this will be Armageddon and we'll be in a recession and it's going to tank our economy. And even Bill Maher, who is not conservative by any metric, has come out this week and said, this has been great for us.
Yep.
We saw the surplus with tariff money that we've collected.
Yeah.
It goes back, it's what we tell our kids, right? When they're going out for to do a test, when they're going out to compete in sports, it's like, you got to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you believe in yourself, it makes all the difference. And again, I go back to that. President Trump believes in America, right? The governor and I believed in South Carolina. You can be bold and do bold things. When you believe in what you're doing and you believe in the power, like here in South Carolina, I believe in the power of our technical colleges. I believe in the power of our workforce. I believe in the power of our law enforcement. When you believe in things, you can be bold and see great outcomes because of it.
Yeah. You're for sure. It's just kind of crazy when you look at how people are responding now. And Bill Maher is a great example. I mean, he just said, hey, I was wrong. The president was right. I was wrong. And this is turning out good for us. And so back on the Fed, I think when you watch Jerome Powell, it's almost like because the president has been so public about calling for a reduced interest rate, it's like he's saying, I'll do this when I'm ready to do this. And I'm not going to do it if you keep asking me to do it. Kind of like a kid, the parent saying, keep asking, I'm not going to do it.
That's why I said when you watch him, his posture, I like to watch people's posture, and it just kind of seems defiant to a certain degree. And I think the president put him on the spot about his overages with his new building, right?
Yep.
And he kind of said, oh, that's not true. And the president, I would never be bold enough to stand up in front of the president and say that's not true, because you know he's done his research.
Oh, yes.
You know he's got the background, the back end side of it to say no, and here it is.
Yep, I'm going to show it to you. So, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette, it's always a pleasure. Have a great week, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks, Joey. God bless everybody. Have a great weekend.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.